When I went to say good-night to Half-a-Tick the mongoose, I said, "Well, good-night, Half-a-Tick. You were egged on a bit today, weren't you?" And Half-a-Tick the mongoose said, "Yes, I was egged on just a little bit." Half-a-Tick the mongoose likes little jokes like that because Half-a-Tick is very fond of eggs. Not hard-boiled eggs, not soft-boiled eggs, but raw eggs. Raw eggs in the shell. Oh, yes, they must be in the shell because Half-a-Tick likes to crack the eggs himself. Not with his paw, not with his teeth. Do you know how he does it? Well, he stands with his back to the wall and the egg in his front paws, and then he says, "You watch this. Half-a-tick, just a half-a-tick." And he flings the egg through his back legs and it smashes on the wall like that. And Half-a-Tick says, "There you are. It only took a half-a-tick, didn't it?" And he laps up the egg. Oh, he's a clever one, is Half-a-Tick. But then Half-a-Tick is a mongoose. And a mongoose is a very clever one indeed, because a mongoose is very good at catching snakes. Oh yes, even very poisonous snakes. But of course, he doesn't have to do that in the zoo because we give him his dinner every day. And he often has an egg for afters. But you didn't eat your egg today, did you, Half-a-Tick? And Half-a-Tick said, "Oh no, I didn't eat up my egg today, but it wasn't wasted, was it?" No, it certainly wasn't wasted. Not really. It was just after your dinner time when Walter Pobjoy and his friend Percy Gherkin came into the zoo and wandered past Half-a-Tick's enclosure. And Percy Gherkin said to Walter Pobjoy, "Hey, look, Walter, it says here that this funny-looking thing is a mongoose. Why, it's not a goose at all, is it?" And Walter Pobjoy said, "No. It's an awful-looking thing. It's sort of a bit like a rat or one of them ferrety things. And it says here that it catches snakes. Well, that thing could never catch a snake, could it? Hey, look, it's got an egg. I wonder what it's going to do with that egg." He soon found out, didn't he, Half-a-Tick? Yeah, before you could say Half-a-Tick, Half-a-Tick turned his back on Walter Pobjoy, put the egg in his front paws, and it was a beautiful shot. It splattered all over Walter Pobjoy's face. Well, he did egg you on, didn't he, Half-a-Tick? Oh, yes, he did egg me on, and he got egg on him. Oh, hee, oh, good night. Good night. When I went to say good-night to Dago, the capybara, I said, "Well, good-night, Dago. You really have established yourself today, haven't you?" And Dago, the capybara, said,
"Yes, that's right. I established myself very well. Oh, yes, very well established."
Of course, it took some time for Dago and his wife Daga to establish themselves, because people didn't know what a capybara was. Hooter the elephant and Grumblehump the camel often discussed Dago and Daga the capybaras when they were giving elephant rides and camel rides.
"I don't know, Grumblehump, but I just can't make out what a capybara is. Can you?"
"Well, all I know about them is that they come from South America, Hooter."
"Oh, yes, I know that, but I mean, what is a capybara?" "Strange name, Grumblehump. Strange name."
"They're very strange, I agree. And a strange-looking animal. Just look at them. About the size of a pig."
"Yeah, but not a pig's head."
"Oh, no, not a pig's head. The head is more like old Chippy the Beaver. Don't you think?"
"Yes, that's it. The head is remarkably like old Chippy the Beaver."
"And, of course, they swim."
Oh, yes. You like a good swim in your pool, don't you, Dago?
"Oh, yes, I like a good swim, but sometimes I get a very bad swim, and I don't like."
"I know. It's when you hear people making remarks about you."
"Yes, they make remarks about me, and I don't like. I am a capybara. And people says, 'What for do you want to have capybara?' All right. Then what for do you want to have human peoples, eh? What for you want to have human peoples?
I know, Daga. You and Daga used to get very upset and sulked behind your house, didn't you?"
"Yes, but not now, because now we are established.
Oh, yes, you're established, all right. We simply put a new notice over your pool saying, Capybara, the biggest rodent in the world. That did it.
Oh, yes, that did it.
Yeah, a rodent is a gnawing animal with big, strong front teeth.
That's right. A rat is a rodent. A guinea pig is a rodent. A beaver is a rodent. But I, the capybara, is the biggest rodent in the world. I am established.
You're established, all right. Good night.
Good night.
When I went to say good night to Ever So Teeny and Ever So Weeny, the harvest mice, I said, well, good night, Ever So Teeny and Ever So Weeny. You've had a very quiet day today, haven't you? And Ever So Teeny said, and Ever So Weeny said, it's not like you to have a quiet day, is it? And Ever So Teeny said, and Ever So Weeny said, you're usually so lively. And people love watching you. You're such pretty little things, aren't you? And Ever So Teeny said, and Ever So Weeny said. You see, Ever So Teeny and Ever So Weeny, the harvest mice, are ever such teeny weeny mice. And they live in a little field. Well, we've made it look like a little field of wheat. They like to live in the wheat fields. That's why they're called harvest mice. When the wheat grows tall, and the stalks turn from green to yellow, and the wheat seeds grow big and fat on the top of the stalks, that's when harvest mice, like Ever So Teeny and Ever So Weeny, really enjoy themselves. They can climb up a stalk of wheat, and it sways this way, and that way. They're just like circus acrobats, and when they get to the top, there's a wonderful bunch of wheat seeds for them to eat. And they can scramble around in the tops of the wheat, just like little monkeys in a forest. Oh, they're very clever and very pretty, and they build their nests in the wheat stalks, and it looks like a little bird's nest. Oh, they're very, very little. I sometimes say, you know, Ever So Teeny and Ever So Weeny, if it were possible to buy a pound of harvest mice, that is, a pound in weight, do you know how many you'd get? Well, you would get about 40. And Ever So Teeny and Ever So Weeny giggle and giggle. But what the people like to see them do is climb to the top of one of the wheat stalks that we put in their field, and the stalk bends right over until it touches the ground, and then they jump off, and the stalk springs back up again. And then they'll do it again. And again. Everybody loves to see them doing that. But you haven't done it at all today, have you, Ever So Weeny? And Ever So Weeny said, and Ever So Teeny said, no, I know you haven't. Well, good night. I wonder why. Good night. When I went to say good night to Hilda the ostrich, I said, well, good night, Hilda. You've been having a go at me today, haven't you? And Hilda the ostrich said, oh, and why shouldn't I have a go at you if I want to? Well, of course you can do pretty well what you like, Hilda. After all, you're a pretty big bird. I am indeed a very big bird, and don't you forget it. I won't forget it, Hilda. You seem to. Really, Hilda, I just don't understand you. I'm not difficult to understand. You are, Hilda. Sometimes. You see, it so happened this morning I was on my way to the workshop to get a sheet of glass. I'd promised Desmond, the odd job man, that I'd pick up the glass for him as I was going that way and bring it back for him. Well, as I was going past Hilda the ostrich's garden, I noticed that she was scratching about with her great big feet. Ostriches are very good at scratching about. They often do it because they never know exactly what they're going to find when they go scratching. It could be something to eat, or it could be something to pick up and turn over. It's mostly things to pick up and turn over, like a stone or a bit of slate. Well, as I was going past Hilda, she did a great big scratch, and a shower of dirt and stones came rattling all over me. Oh, steady on, Hilda, steady on. Look what you're doing. And Hilda said, "Oh, I didn't know you were there." And when I came back, carrying that big sheet of glass, do you know what? Yeah, she did it again, only this time it was a terrific, great kicking scratch, and one very big stone hit the sheet of glass, and it went and smashed in bits. Oh, really, Hilda, really, steady on. Now look what you've done. Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were there. But you did know I was there, didn't you, Hilda? You did know I was there. You did that on purpose, didn't you? You did it on purpose. Well, I was having a bit of a scratch about, I can't be looking everywhere at once, can I? Well, it's very funny, Hilda, that it happened twice in about 5 minutes. And that big sheet of glass has been smashed as well. How am I going to explain that away, Hilda? How am I going to explain that away? I think you're having a go at me, Hilda. Good night. Good night. I wonder why. Good night. When I went to say good night to Private Eye, the vulture, I said, "Well, good night, Private Eye. I've come for a bit of a consultation." And Private Eye, the vulture, said,
A bit of a what?
"A bit of a consultation."
What's a bit of a consultation?
"Well, I've come to ask you some questions, things I want to know. I want to consult you, have a consultation." Well, a bit of a one.
Oh, I see. Ah, yes. I'm very good at bits of consultation.
I know you are, Private Eye. That's why I've come to consult you.
And what do you want to know?
There's something going on.
There's always something going on.
I know, but there's something different going on.
How different?
Well, to start with, Hooter the elephant is very snooty with me.
Oh, yes, I know that.
And Ever So Teeny and Ever So Weeny have been very quiet and offhand with me.
Offhand?
Yeah, offhand.
Oh, they're usually on hand.
Exactly.
What else?
Well, Hilda the ostrich kicked a lump of dirt and stone at me and smashed the sheet of glass I was carrying.
Oh, yes, I saw that. Rather a good shot, I thought.
Yeah, it was a good shot, all right, but why?
Ah, yes, that's what you've come to see me about.
Yeah.
A bit of a, what did you call it?
Consultation.
Ah, yes, consultation. Yeah, well, of course, I knew there'd be trouble.
You knew that there would be trouble?
Oh, yes, you see, if you do something for one person and one person alone, then all the other persons are going to get upset, aren't they?
Well, yes, but what have I done for one person and not for other persons?
You put a notice over someone's swimming pool, didn't you?
Oh, yes, the capybaras.
That's right.
The notice said the biggest rodent in the world.
Exactly.
And now everyone else wants notices outside their houses?
Exactly.
Like Ever So Teeny and Ever So Weeny want a notice saying the smallest rodents in the world?
Exactly.
And Hooter the elephant wants the largest land animal?
Exactly.
And Hilda the ostrich wants the biggest bird in the world?
You've got the idea.
Well, I never. Interesting, isn't it?
Very interesting.
That's why they've all been behaving so strangely.
Exactly.
But how did they know that they were the biggest and the smallest?
The Budgerigars Information Service.
The Budgerigars Information Service?
Yeah. They've started a record book.
A record book?
Yeah.
Well, I'm blowed. Thank you for the consultation, Private Eye. Good night.
Good night.
When I went to say good night to the Budgerigars, I said, "Well, good night, Budgerigars. You've stirred it up again, haven't you?" And the chief supervisor of the Budgerigars Information Service said,
"Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. We've stirred it up. We've stirred it up."
"You like stirring things up, don't you?"
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We like stirring things up. We like stirring things up.
Well, it's all very well, you know, but stirring things up may be a lot of fun for you, but it's giving me a lot of trouble.
Oh, yes, a lot of trouble, a lot of trouble.
Whatever made you want to start a record book?
You started it, you started it.
I started it?
Oh, yes, you started it.
Oh, I started it when I put that notice over the capybara swimming pool. The biggest rodent in the world.
That's it, that's it.
I know it was my fault, and now you started the Zoo Animals Record Book. Well, it's not exactly a book because you can't write, can you? But you can remember everything, can't you?
Oh, yes, remember everything, remember everything. The cheetah is the fastest land animal, 75 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour.
I know the cheetah is the fastest land animal at 75 miles an hour, but that's only over a short distance.
75 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour. Elephant is the biggest land mammal.
I know the elephant is the biggest land animal. That's all very well, but everyone's going mad about records. Only this morning, I found Torpedo the sea lion swimming up and down his pool, up and down and up and down at a terrific speed. And I said, Torpedo, whatever is the matter? And Torpedo said,
Don't stop me! Don't stop me!
Don't stop you?
No, don't stop me! Don't stop me!
Well, I couldn't stop him. And then he suddenly jumped out of his pool shouting out,
I've done it! I've done it!
What have you done, Torpedo?
Broken the record!
What record?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, 40 times up and down the pool in 1 minute.
40 times up and down the pool in 1 minute? That's a record.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ah, I see. You timed yourself by the big clock over the stables there.
That's right.
Well, you've got the record then, Torpedo. I suppose that's all right, but records can be dangerous things. And you budgerigars are certainly stirring it, aren't you?
Oh, yes, we're stirring it, we're stirring it. Good night.
Good night. When I went to say good night to Small Change, the guinea pig, I said, well, good night, Small Change. You've taken things very badly today, haven't you? And Small Change, the guinea pig, said, Now, come on, Small Change, you mustn't cry like that. It's all because of that Zoo Animal Record Book, isn't it? And Small Change, the guinea pig, said, Oh, dear. I wish the budgerigars had never started the record book, because now everyone is trying to beat all sorts of records. Only yesterday, the kookaburras, the laughing jackasses, were trying to beat the laughing record, I mean to say. When I went by, Side Splitter, the biggest laughing jackass, was laughing himself silly. What are you laughing at, Side Splitter?
Trying to beat the record.
What record?
The laughing record.
The laughing record? What laughing record?
To see which laughing jackass could laugh the longest.
Oh, the jackass that has laughed the longest.
Yes.
Oh, I see. And you can see the big clock over the stables, can't you?
Oh, yes.
And what's the record laugh?
5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
And you're trying to beat that?
Oh, yes.
Oh, dear, it's terrible. Everybody's trying to beat records, and you can't beat one. Can you, Small Change? I know it's very difficult, because you're a rodent, aren't you? But, of course, you're much too big to be the smallest rodent. The harvest mouse is the smallest rodent. I know. And you're much too small to be the biggest rodent. The capybara is the biggest rodent. I know. So you can't beat those records. I know. And so you tried to beat other records, didn't you? I know. You tried to beat the carrot-eating record, the guinea pig carrot-eating record, and you got an awful tummy ache, didn't you? I know. But look, Small Change, I've got an idea. We can't get you in the book as the biggest rodent, or the smallest rodent, or the guinea pig carrot-eating record breaker, but we can get you in as the hardest trying guinea pig, can't we? So, you won't take it too badly, will you? Good night. Good night. When I went to say good night to Trit Trot the pony, I said, well, good night, Trit Trot. When is it all going to end? And Trit Trot the pony said, I don't know. No, I don't know either. You smashed your pony cart up good and proper, didn't you? Yeah. It'll take a long time to get it mended. I know. I had an idea that something like this would happen when I met Hooter the other morning, giving elephant rides. He was travelling very, very quick, and the people on his back had to hold on very tight. So when he'd finished the ride, I said to him, look, Hooter, you were going very fast, weren't you? And Hooter the elephant said, my goodness me, I say, I am puffed, you know, I say, really, Hooter, you're not trying to break some sort of record, are you?
Oh, no, not really, you know. But I am puffed.
You see, Hooter, you already hold one record. You are the biggest land animal in the world. I've had it printed on a little card and put it outside your house so that people can read it. It says, Hooter, elephant, biggest land animal, weight 5.5 tons. Isn't that enough?
Well, no, not really. You see, I feel rather like Tub Thump the gorilla. I've got to do something.
And what are you trying to do?
Well, between you and me, I was trying to be the elephant who gave most elephant rides in one day.
But Hooter, there aren't many people in the zoo today. If there aren't many people, how can you give the most rides?
Well, when there are a lot of people about, I can't go quickly.
Well then, you'll have to think up another record to break, Hooter.
I suppose I will.
Now, you weren't trying to break some sort of a record, were you, Trit Trot?
No.
Well, it looked a bit like it to me. I know that horrid Walter Pobjoy was having a ride in your cart, and I know he was throwing peanuts at you and stinging your ears with them. But the way you turned round at the end of the terrace there, you turned so fast and so sharp that you tipped your cart right over, snapped the shafts, and shot Walter Pobjoy out onto the ground. Didn't he make a noise? You're sure you weren't trying for the fastest pony cart record, Trit Trot?
No.
All right. I'll believe you. Good night.